Why Formula 2 is every bit as good as Formula 1. Right, I'm glad you popped by on this video because I feel like everyone needs to know just how good Formula 2 is and why you should definitely, if you don't already, integrate it into your busy weekend schedules. I'll admit, I haven't watched Formula 2 or GP2 as it was previously known for a huge amount of time, but once I gave it a proper good go, I've been hooked ever since. More often than not, the Formula 2 races end up being better than Formula 1. Shock horror. And hey, you don't have to choose between them, just watch both. Let's dive into some reasons why Formula 2 is a god-tier championship. Upcoming drivers. Formula 2 is a platform and gateway into Formula 1. It's not a guarantee, don't get me wrong. We've seen the likes of Nick de Vries and Davide Valsecchi win the championship and not get to Formula 1. But it certainly puts you in the eyes of Formula 1 teams, and if the timing is right, you could easily get your shot the following season. With this golden opportunity potentially up for grabs, the F2 drivers are all wanting to prove their worth, which provides us with some absolutely awesome racing and sensational dive bombs. Take a look at this season with the likes of Callum Ilott, Robert Schwartzman and Mick Schumacher, who are all part of the Ferrari Driver Academy, looking eagerly towards that Alfa Romeo seat for next year. Strategy. A Formula 2 weekend consists of two races, the feature and the sprint race. The feature race is longer and which they qualify for on the Friday, with 4 points being handed to the pole sitter. The drivers are not restricted as to which tyre they start the race on, therefore almost always providing a split strategy race where the softer runners will come in earlier and the harder tyre runners will go longer into the race and then sprint to the finish, coming through the pack on the softs at the end. It's fascinating to watch and always keeps the excitement up that potentially the leader, who may even have a solid gap to second, could be caught on fresh rubber or from pushing too hard themselves earlier on in their stint. Basically, to sum up, it's bloody exciting. Different race formats. Now, I mentioned the sprint race in the previous section, and this is where the new race format comes in, a reverse grid for the top 8 from the results of the feature race. It's honestly a genius format which doesn't feel too artificial from a spectator's point of view and gives great opportunities to drivers to showcase their skills from the front that maybe don't have the outright pace to qualify there. On almost every occasion they won't stop for tyres, apart from Hungary where most drivers had to pit, but the driver that didn't, Luca Giotto, managed to win by the smallest of margins. Honestly, one more corner and Ilott would have won. But that doesn't make it any less exciting, as they have to be so careful with how they manage the hard tyres for an entire race. Leaders have often pushed too hard at the start of a race to build a gap, only to be caught by the end. Are you getting where I'm going with this? Formula 2 is awesome! It's a Spec Series. The same F2 car is used by all of the teams, with a carbon fibre monocoque supplied by Dallara, as well as a single turbocharged direct injected Mechachrome V6 engine. The top teams usually still win because they have the best engineers to dial in setups for every race, but it certainly provides much closer racing and the opportunity for a few upsets here and there. I mean, in Spain this year, Matsushita won from 18th on the grid, albeit from a rather lucky safety car putting him in that position, but the most important thing is that he was able to make moves and take the win. Cars can follow. When you compare a Formula 1 and a Formula 2 car, you can quite clearly see that the aerodynamic structure of an F2 car is much simpler. There are less winglets and parts to disturb the air, which in turn allows the car behind to follow with less dirty air. If you're wondering what dirty air is, or the difference between dirty air and slipstream, we made a video about this which you can check out right here. Basically, with less air disturbed for the car behind, we see much closer and more exciting racing. This is what Formula 1 is also trying to achieve when the new regulations come out for 2022. Alex Jakes. I had to include this man. Alex Jakes is the commentator for Formula 2 and is quite simply the best there is. Combining the frantic action with the top-notch quality comms from this guy, you have the perfect weekend ahead of you. There you have it, more than enough reasons to start watching and following Formula 2 if you don't already. Is there anything we've missed out that makes F2 amazing for you? Let us know in the comment section below.